This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
Lebanon's opposition groups renewed their demands regarding the makeup of the government. The opposition reiterated their demands in a letter submitted by the head of the Lebanese parliament, Nabiye Berri, to the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State, David Welsh, who returned to Beirut last night. This news comes amidst unconfirmed reports that the U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice may embark on a surprise visit to the Lebanese capital. Meanwhile, Lebanese children are playing with their new toys, which they received during the Eid al-Adha holiday. Ilian Shatri reports from Beirut.
The streets of Lebanon are crowded with children playing with their new toys, which they received during the Eid al-Adha holiday. This Eid comes amidst political, social, and economic crises, as well as a presidential vacuum. Although the situation is very difficult, the Lebanese timidly celebrated Eid.
It doesn't seem like we're having Eid.
We hope that soon we'll have an elected president and that the situation improves.
Today, Eid came while Lebanon still exists amidst a presidential vacuum and political crisis. The only thing the Lebanese received during this Eid is a promise for more political negotiations and dialogue at the national, regional, and international levels. Meanwhile, the U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice may embark on a surprise visit to Lebanon. This news comes as the Assistant U.S. Secretary of State, David Welsh, returned to Beirut for the second time in the past 3 days. Welsh was accompanied by Deputy U.S. National Security Advisor Elliot Abrams. During a meeting with Lebanese Parliament Majority Leader Saad Hariri, Welsh accused the opposition of hampering the elections and failing to carry out their obligations, and ultimately risking Lebanon's independence and sovereignty.
The Speaker of the Parliament must meet his obligations. He must allow the Parliament to meet, vote, and do its job. In addition, parliamentary blocs must meet their obligations to elect a president without conditions or delays.
In response to the U.S. accusation, the Lebanese Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri said that he did meet his obligations as head of the parliament, and if it was up to him, Lebanon would have elected a president on the first day. In addition, Berri said, "Let Welsh pressure whoever wants to listen and obey him." Amidst this war of words and political showdown, many questions were raised regarding next Saturday's parliamentary session, which many believe will be postponed. If delayed, it will be the 10th time the Lebanese parliament postponed a hearing session on the presidential issue. Eids, with their holiness and symbolic meanings, have become insignificant in Lebanon, where politics have taken precedent. Ilian Shatri, Dubai TV, Beirut.
Ilian Shatri, Television Dubai, Beirut.
Ilian will stay with us. Ilian, there is no smoke without fire. There appears to be a lot of talk about Rice visiting Lebanon. Will Rice visit Beirut?
Suad, the talks about a visit by the U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice to Beirut comes in the context of media propaganda. The news has not been confirmed by any U.S. or Lebanese sources. However, this speculation has dissipated. During a meeting between the Assistant U.S. Secretary of State, David Welsh, who is currently in Beirut, and the Lebanese Parliament Speaker, Nabi Berri, Welsh told Berri that Rice will not visit Beirut. Consequently, the rumor about a visit by Rice, who visited Iraq yesterday, to Lebanon has dissipated. Welsh is still in a meeting with the Lebanese Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri as we speak. The meeting started an hour ago and is still going on, and everyone is waiting for a statement from the Council. Berri was the only one from the opposition who met with Welsh. This news comes after a harsh debate between Berri and Welsh over the presidential issue.
قال وزير الإسكان الإسرائيلي زايف بويم أن حكومته تدرس خطة لبناء
Happy holidays. The Israeli Minister of Housing, Zaev Boyam, said that his government is reviewing a plan to construct a new Jewish suburb in East Jerusalem. He said that plans like these are a priority and will be implemented within a year. Boyam's statements come after a report by the Haaretz newspaper, which revealed an Israeli plan to build 10,000 new single-family homes in East Jerusalem, which will be designated for religious Jews.
ستخصص لليهود المتدينين.
The buzz about Israel's plan to build 300 new single settlement homes in Abu Ghneim mountain settlement south of Jerusalem had not died down yet when another announcement was made about the Israeli housing minister giving the green light for the construction of what could be the largest settlement north of East Jerusalem since 1967. The new settlement is planned to have 10,000 to 15,000 single resident settlement homes. The Israeli Minister of Housing does not deny the presence of such a plan. However, he tried to downplay the significance of the proposal by saying that it is only in the preliminary phase and will need years before it's implemented.
I requested that a preliminary check be conducted of various lands for the construction of many buildings, so that we can build in the future due to the housing shortage. Among these lands is the Atarut. We are talking about a preliminary phase of any of these planned projects. Atarut lies within the area of Jerusalem.
فإسرائيل التي أعلنت عن ضم مدينة القدس عام 67 تعتبر الاستيطان.
Israel, which announced that it annexed the city of Jerusalem in 1967, considers the settlements in Jerusalem as well as the new plan for Atarot as within the borders of the confiscated city. Behind this wall lies the Kalandia refugee camp, the city of Ramallah, and the northern West Bank, which Israel isolated from the city of Jerusalem. On the other side of this wall, the residents of Jerusalem are completely isolated from the West Bank. Here, in the middle, the Israelis are planning to construct one of its largest settlements and bring thousands of settlers in an area that was supposed to be part of a future Palestinian state. The future demography, as well as strengthening the settlements, are the critical issues fueling the conflict being carried out by Israel in Jerusalem. They view the Palestinians in East Jerusalem as a minority, despite the fact that there are 280,000 Palestinians and only 180,000 settlers who live there. The Palestinian Authority called for immediate international intervention to stop the plan.
الفلسطينية من جانبها طالبت بتدخل دولي فوري لوقف المخطط.
Now the world must make Israel stop all of its settlement activities. There are either settlement activities or there are not. Israel cannot engage in negotiations regarding final status issues, such as Jerusalem and the settlements, while continuing to impose realities on the ground and place conditions on Jerusalem and the settlements.
Since 1967, Israel has erected 135 settlements, including 34 settlements in the area of Jerusalem. This is in addition to 202 random Israeli settlement outposts that still exist, despite a clause in the roadmap that calls for their immediate removal. Shireen Abu Akleh, Al Jazeera, North Occupied Jerusalem.
The White House has confirmed that President George Bush will arrive in Israel on January 9th at the start of a 9-day trip to the Middle East. In addition to Israel, Bush will also visit the Palestinian Authority, Kuwait, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. The White House said the visit by the U.S. President is part of a follow-up to the process that began last month at Annapolis.
Well, I think just like he did in Annapolis, where he brought the leaders together and said they were close on a statement. Abbas and Fayyad, as well as Prime Minister Olmert, were close on a statement that they could agree to in Annapolis, but they hadn't quite gotten there. And the President was able to sit down with them and push to bring them together so that they could resolve their differences and issue a statement that helped launch the negotiations. That's one of the things that the President can do and will do when he's in the Middle East. They had a meeting, one of their first meetings was right after Annapolis, I think a week afterwards, and then the Paris Donors Conference just happened yesterday. So just 3 weeks from now, or 3 or 4 weeks from now, the President will be there so that he can continue to keep the process going. As he said, Secretary Rice will be in the region quite a bit. We're in communication with the leadership of those countries on a regular basis. And the president said he's going to be committed to helping them continue to push forward so that they can realize what they have agreed on, which is a Palestinian state. Part of it is to continue to keep the discussions going, to show the commitment, and to remind the world that this is a moment that has presented itself, and it's time for everyone to seize the opportunity to make sure that the Palestinians and the Israelis are supported. In addition to that, the president wants to help try to increase Israeli and Arab reconciliation. That's an important piece of the Annapolis conference, and it's something that the president recognizes as important to security, not only in the region, but around the world. And finally, as I mentioned earlier, the global war on terror is playing itself out in large part in the Middle East, and the president will be there. He'll be able to talk to some of our troops, and we'll get more details for you on the rest of the trip as we get closer.
Britain and the United States will host an investors conference in Bethlehem in March or April aimed at bolstering the Palestinian economy. The announcement came from Prime Minister Gordon Brown following talks with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, and comes on the heels of this week's Paris meeting where international donors pledged $7.4 billion to the PA. Brown said that 2008 offers a great opportunity for the peace process.
The United Kingdom will do whatever it can to support the process. We will work closely with President Abbas and with Prime Minister Olmert, whom I talked to at the weekend. We will work with Tony Blair in his mission to make it possible for economic development to move forward. The Palestinian Reform and Development Plan is for us a very important part of this, and we strongly support the work of Tony Blair and Prime Minister Salam Fayyad to deliver it.
More now on Gaza and the Hamas proposed Hudna. A short time ago, reporter Efrat Batat spoke to Defense Ministry advisor David Chacham, who says Israel will not relate to Hamas ceasefire proposals.
I think that the Israeli position is very cut and clear as regards to Hamas, as regards to the declaration of Ismail Haniyeh in the Gaza Strip. First of all, as you probably know, from our point of view, Hamas in the Gaza Strip is a hostile entity from the Israeli point of view, so we are not going to relate or to refer to any of Hamas' proposal, any of Ismail Haniyeh proposals. I would say that in principle, our position is very clear. Hamas and the other, I would say, terrorist organizations in the Gaza Strip, they have to stop immediately all terrorist activities, operations directed against Israeli civilian or Israeli military alike, in order to pave the way for a kind of a ceasefire between the two parties. But from our point of view, the first step has to be taken by Hamas to stop immediately all terrorist operation. I would like to mention in this respect that since the Israeli withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, like 2 years ago approximately, there were more than 2,000 Qassam rockets being launched, being shelled from the Gaza Strip vis-a-vis the Israeli, settlements, kibbutzim, and Sderot, the city of Sderot, and other villages in the southern part of Israel adjacent to the Gaza Strip. So this is our stand, this is our position, that Hamas has to stop, like the other Palestinian organizations, terrorist organizations, all these activities directed against the Israeli civilians.
استشهد المواطنان محمود مهرة من بلدة جباليا شمال قطاع غزة ومحمد علي أبو حسن.
Palestinian citizens Mahmoud Moura from Jabalia in northern Gaza and Mohammed Ali Abu Hasna from Al Borj in the middle of Gaza died because they were not allowed to seek medical treatment abroad. This raises the number of Palestinians who were martyred during the past several months to 37 citizens. A long list of sick people, including some who suffer from chronic and dangerous diseases, may die because they lack medicine and because they are not allowed to leave the Gaza Strip. The Zionists have imposed a wide-scale siege and closed down all the crossing points for the last several months.
The Palestinian people are suffering every day while the whole world watches. Some Palestinians are waiting for the checkpoints to reopen so they can receive medical treatment abroad, and others are just waiting to die. It is as if the Palestinian people live outside of this universe. Samia Al-Hajjaj is an ill woman who has been staying at the Shifa hospital. She is pregnant and in her 9th month and suffers from a heart condition. The doctors do not know what to do with her. They can't perform any operations on her, and thus she can't do anything but wait to die while her kids watch.
The doctor said that they can't do anything for me. The operation would be too dangerous for me and my fetus. What can we do about the fetus? May God give us other children, but I need to live so I can take care of my children. I have one disabled child, and no one can take care of him like I do.
Samia is not the only person who is ill or going through such conditions. Gaza's hospitals are filled with people who are in poor health condition, and some of them are waiting to be treated abroad. This is Ali Ahal. His family has 16 members. 4 of his arteries are clogged, which enabled him to acquire a visa so that he can be treated abroad. However, he was surprised when he learned that he can't leave Gaza for security reasons. The doctors cannot treat him in the hospitals in Gaza due to a lack of resources. He is now sleeping in his bed waiting to die or for help from God.
I live in morphine. I feel the pain 1 or 3 times a day. I live in morphine. I asked the doctor if he has medication for me. He told me the only thing he has for me is morphine and painkillers. He told me that he has nothing else for me here. He also told me that if I don't undergo an operation, I will die. Death, however, is in God's hand.
Doctors are struggling to cure their patients with whatever resources they have. However, whenever any medical equipment breaks, it can't be fixed because spare parts have to go through the Israeli checkpoints first. The well-to-do patients go to private clinics, and the poor patients can't do anything except wait to die.
Rescue workers have been sifting through the wreckage of derailed train carriages after a deadly crash in Pakistan.
The Karachi Express jumped off the rails in the middle of the night, killing at least 40 people and injuring scores more.
It was en route to Lahore when the accident happened near the southern town of Mehrapur. The train was packed with passengers heading home for religious holidays. Kamal Haider has more.
Carnage and chaos came to southern Pakistan in the middle of the night. The twisted wreckage of the Karachi Express lies beside the tracks in a remote area in the province of Sindh. The train was traveling from Karachi to Lahore in central Pakistan, packed with more than 700 passengers. Many were returning home to mark the Muslim festival of Eid this week. There was also a large wedding party on board who had booked a special carriage for the occasion. 15 of the train's 17 carriages careered off the tracks.
I was sleeping on the train. Then I heard the train coming off the tracks, and then there was a blackout. I saw lots of people injured.
The cause of the crash is still unknown, but there are early reports that the track was partly eroded. Hundreds of people have died in Pakistan's aging colonial-era railway network, often on trains which are overcrowded. Wednesday's crash has brought tragedy to what should have been the beginning of a week of celebrations. Over 100 million people travel by rail in Pakistan. This would be the poor people of the country. However, there is only one main arterial line from north to south, and that is an old railway line which needs a lot of attention. While the government has been paying a lot of attention to the road development, they have neglected Pakistan's railways. Kamal Haider, Al Jazeera, Golra, Islamabad.
تعاني المؤسسات التعليمية في العراق من نقص حاد في الاحتياجات والخدمات.
Many educational institutions in Iraq lack the basic services, including a shortage in water supply and poor sanitation facilities. In addition, many school buildings have been damaged by violence in the country.
The educational system in Iraq is going through a crisis. Many primary schools in Iraq suffer from a shortage of basic services, which are necessary to provide a good education. According to a study conducted on the conditions of schools in Iraq, 1/3 of the primary schools in the areas of Dora and Ghazaliya suffer from water shortages. In addition, half of the schools are functioning without proper sanitation facilities. Meanwhile, the financial situation of teachers continues to deteriorate, especially in proportion to rising inflation.
The school is in dire need of rehabilitation. We also need to expand the school to accommodate the growing number of students. In addition, the school suffers from a shortage of basic water, electricity, and sanitation services.
وتذكر الدراسة أن ما يزيد على 700 مدرسة ألحقت بها.
The survey states that over 700 primary schools have been damaged in the violence. A third of those are in Baghdad, with more than 200 burned down, and over 3,000 have been looted.
للنهب والسلب في عموم البلاد.
The school doesn't have basic water and sanitation services. The bathrooms are often out of service. The school is often swarmed with flies. We don't have electricity in the school. In brief, the school is deprived of all the basic health services.
The Iraqi government must take constructive measures aimed at improving the educational system in the country, thus producing a new generation of people who are capable of rebuilding their country.
Every commodity has its own market. U.S. military uniforms and other military necessities have their own markets, which are located at the entrances of the tribal regions in Pakistan. Bakar Atiani went to the Karkhana with an arms trader in the tribal belt.
They call it the free market. Others call it the market of smuggled goods. It is free because it is not governed by laws, and it is called smuggled because everything that is brought and sold there has been smuggled from neighboring countries.
أحدث صراعات سوق كارخانة الواقع عند مدخل مناطق القبائل الباكستانية.
One of the latest trends at the Karkhana market, located at the entrances of the Pakistani tribal areas, are military uniforms of the American forces in Afghanistan. British and American bulletproof vests are sold here for competitive prices. The owner of this kiosk insisted that these types of goods come from brokers in Afghanistan. However, he does not know their original source. Another seller was prepared to reveal their source, however, without showing his identity.
ولكن من دون أن تظهر صورته.
هذه البضائع تأتينا عبر الحدود من أفغانستان وهي غنائم.
These goods come to us from the Afghan border. They are the booty taken from the jihadi war against the U.S. Army. Some of these goods are sold by U.S. soldiers in exchange for drugs.
شراء السلاح الخاص بالقوات الأمريكية.
The buying of special weapons from the U.S. forces begins first by checking out the buyer, and then transporting him to another place inside the tribal area. Video recordings are prohibited after this point. A few moments later, an M16 is brought out, the official gun of the U.S. Army. The weapon is being sold. It has a serial number that states that this piece belongs to the U.S. Army. I asked the seller how he obtained this gun.
This piece belonged to the American Army in Afghanistan. A Taliban fighter won it during a battle with the U.S. forces. We are selling this weapon for $8,000. There is another piece that is being sold for $5,000.
Karkhana market also carries a military copy of the American flag. It is known that every American soldier carries a flag like this. The original is also sold here. In this free market, the fuel of war in Afghanistan has been transformed into a commodity that is being bought and sold. It happens in this part of the world, Bakar al-Atiyan, Al-Arabiya, Karkhana, northwest Pakistan.
حما إضاءة أكبر شجرة سلام في الوطن العربي والرابعة من نوعها على
In Hama, the largest peace tree in the Arab world can be found. It is the fourth of its kind in the world at 40 meters high. Syria TV has this report from Hama.
إنها أول شجرة على مستوى الوطن العربي ورابع شجرة على مستوى العالم.
It is the first tree of its kind in the Arab world and the fourth of its kind in the world. The peace tree is 40 meters high and stands amidst one of the nicest places in the heart of Syria, Hama, near the historical citadel and water wheels. The permanent features of life here, which tell the story of the land and its people. Here, the peace tree was lit amidst major popular and official celebrations in the city, where the mosque minarets hug the towers of the churches on the land of love and peace. The governor of Hama gave a speech about the importance of celebrating the largest tree, which was raised to express brotherly unity and deep national attachment, representing a united Syrian family that drinks from the same water, breathes the same air, and lives under one sky under the auspices of one leader, President Bashar al-Assad.
تستنشق هواء الوطن الواحد وتعيش تحت سمائه الواحدة برعاية القائد الواحد.
Sheikh Dr. Hafiz al-Mahmoud, the director of the Hama Awqaf, called for embodying the values of the leader al-Assad, who began to plant bountiful yasmin flower in the land of bounty. In his speech, Archbishop Eli Salibi, a Roman Orthodox bishop, said that lighting this tree expresses cordiality and coexistence among all members of the Syrian family, both Christians and Muslims.
بين أفراد الأسرة السورية من مسيحيين ومسلمين.
This indicates the spirit of love, brotherhood, cooperation, coexistence, and a shared fate, not only in this city, but in all of Arab Syria.
During all occasions, we are one family. We express this particularly during these days. This is the tree of love. We are here together to stand by it as an indication of our happiness, goodness, and beloved cooperation.
It represents a state of coexistence, brotherhood, and love, which we are blessed with in Syria. No words can express this national and social unity and love for President Bashar al-Assad.
On this occasion, 50 couples from various Syrian provinces came to participate in a mass wedding ceremony that reflected the images of love and social harmony in Syria, the lion.
What are you giving this holiday season? Is it this? Or this? Or maybe this? This year, why not make a change and give your friends and family the world? Now it's easy and meaningful to give the gift of Link TV. Just go to linktv.org or call 1-866-485-8848 to honor those you care about with a tax-deductible gift in their name to Link TV. Choose from one of 3 designs and have a personalized holiday card sent to everyone on your list, letting your loved ones know you've made them official sponsors of Television Without Borders. This holiday season, remember peace on earth is possible when we see the world without borders. Happy holidays from Link TV, and don't forget to send your card today.
Get more news about the Middle East online at linktv.org/Mosaic. The Mosaic webpage offers a complete archive of Mosaic programs, program transcripts, the Mosaic video podcast, and the Mosaic Intelligence Report, a weekly analysis of the hottest stories from the Middle East. The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you. This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news. with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.